Hello, everyone. Welcome to Mysterious Forces Live. It is Friday, October 19th. We are 6 minutes late, and thank you for waiting. We are trying to get our internet connection correct with tonight's intended guest, Janet Kira Lessin from aquarianradio.com. And I'm so glad you're here. And Professor Moriarty is working behind the scenes to get in contact with her. I had called her, and I was going to hold my cell phone and hold that up to the microphone so that I could still do the interview. And I called, and her number is busy. So I didn't know what to do about that. And I knew that there were people waiting in the chat room. So I just decided to go on. And if Janet Kira Lessin excuse me, calls me, I'll answer, and we'll use that phone technique. I'll hold the phone up to the microphone, and we'll do tonight's intended show. And if not, I'm going to talk to you for a half hour, and I have things to talk about, so that's not such a big deal. So thank you for being here. It's been a long week. I've had a crazy week here at the house. We've had all kinds of crazy family stuff going on. I broke a toe early in the week, and it's just been madness this week, and it's Friday, but here we are, and we're rolling with it. So I have, this is not a political show, as I've mentioned before, but I just want to say as a point of interest that I have been fascinated with the journalist story, Khashoggi, the Saudi journalist living in exile here in the United States that was obviously murdered by the Saudis. And it's just a fascinating story, and it's such a sloppy operation. Like, I don't know. My opinion on this is that mission was executed out of hubris, because those were people who thought they could just do whatever they wanted to. And it's just the details are horrifying and fascinating. And I think we're going to be hearing about that story for a long time to come. Like I said, not a political show, but I have just been watching that unfold like a hawk. It has been crazy. I want to talk a little bit about Halloween. I am going to be going on a family vacation for Halloween, which falls in the middle of the week. That's not a show day. We will have our regular Friday, Saturday, Sunday show. I will be back home here at the nyxmedia.com studios for that weekend. However, on Halloween, I'm going to be at Disneyland. And since it's Halloween themed and it's Halloween and that kind of thing, this isn't one of those shows. I'm not an amusement park guide and all that stuff. This isn't going to turn into one of those. But because it is Halloween and that is my favorite holiday, I will be doing some live streaming from inside of Disneyland. And I contacted Disneyland and I asked them if I could interview some people and get some behind the scenes stuff. And they pretty quickly shut me down with an absolute get the fuck out of here. It's not quite what Mickey said, but that it was a very short letter. And so they won't talk to me. But I will live stream from Disneyland, and we'll have some fun with that. And I feel so lost now that Disclosure Con is over, and I had a good time talking about that. And I want to shout out to Doc Skinner again, and Jessica and Ashley. Hello. And I know who I need to shout out to. It's weird. I'm not going to say exactly where, because I don't want to broadcast to the public my neighborhood or where I live or whatever. But I wore a UFO shirt in, and there's a Circle K near here, convenience store. And I go in the mornings looking like shit, and I want my cup of coffee, and I really like their coffee, so I'll trudge in there and get coffee. And the guy saw my UFO shirt, and it was from the UFO Congress, and we started talking about UFOs, and he told me about an experience he had, and blah, blah, blah. I've been trying to turn him on to some other media sources online for this kind of information, one of them being KGRA. And So anyway, long story short, the other guy, another cashier, starts talking to me a little bit about this stuff, like words getting out in the gas station that I'm, into this stuff and I have this show. And I took them in some stickers. And then I saw the other guy this morning. He was behind the cash register and he was talking about my show and he had the sticker and he's like, I'm going to put this on my truck. And I'm like, this is crazy. Like, the show is taking off. I've got 150 subscribers now here on YouTube. Thank you very much, subscribers. And the local guys, I mean, it's not a big deal. It's the Circle K, and it's what it's like in your own neighborhood when you go to your local convenience store. You get to know people. But it's just weird that this show is really starting to kind of take off and have a life of its own. And even though we are sans a guest tonight, only because of technical issues, we are doing really well with booking guests, and we're going to have no shortage of guests. And I just want to say that that's a direct result of working with Pursuing X. They're really working hard behind the scenes, and they've got a good team of people working with me, and the show's getting better and better, and our resources are increasing, and we're getting an even better roster of guests. So just keep tuning in and hang in there, because this show is getting better. Now on to the paranormal stuff. I've just been talking for about 10 minutes now. And you want to hear something paranormal, you don't want to hear me opine, you can go anywhere else for that kind of crap. So I'm going to wing it here. I'm going to talk to you about what I have. I have an app, and I'm not going to say which app because I'm not endorsing them, and we'll see how it goes. But I got this app, and it's a Spirit Box app, and it hooks up to my iPad Pro. And I have a music platform on my iPad Pro, and that's when you hear my music, that's where my music is coming from. And let me look away from the camera for just a second. Forgive me. And anyway, so this Spirit Box, it's all electronic, but it's randomized, and there are bits of audio data in there, some words, some syllables, I think maybe even some parts of phrases, I'm not sure. But I'm a little bit afraid that an algorithm could kick out stuff so that you hear what you think you want to hear, whatever, when you're doing spirit mode. There's an experimental switch on this, and there's a speed. You can make it scan through the frequencies and the samples faster or slower. And it's got 4 banks. And I'm going to turn it down a little bit because I don't know how loud it's going to be through the system. And so anyway, when I turn this on, and there's a mute button, so like you can get it scanning and you can kind of get a baseline of what's going on. Then you can hit that mute button, ask the Spirit Box a question, and then see what happens. And I made a short video earlier, and it was about 40 seconds long, and I think I had a result. I don't know what you think about that, and I'm probably going to butcher this. Pareidolia, I believe, is when the human brain picks patterns out of something random to try to make sense out of it. And I've been a little bit worried that, like you ask a question and this thing is going to spit stuff out and you're going to hear an answer because you want to hear an answer, or that it's going to just spit out answers. Hold on just a sec. I'm getting a call live on the air. Hello? Hello? Hi, Michael. Okay. Okay. And is that a different number? Okay. Okay. All right. Well, I'm live on the air, and I'll finish this bit and we'll get on with it. All right. That's all right. Thanks. Now that's professional show business right there, ladies and gentlemen. Getting calls live, here at the nyxmedia.com campus, because this is a campus, the studio is so large. This is such a large complex. Okay, I'll stop that now. Anyway, so we're going to still, Janet wants me to call her. She's waiting. and I will call Janet, but we're going to do the spirit box because I've already built this up. So we'll do this for about 5 minutes and play around, and then we'll call Janet. So this is the Friday night wing it show. You know, what can I say? So anyway, 4 banks of samples, variable speed. It's experimental, more slow, and I've got it on a good setting. We're going to see what this sounds like, and I'm just going to give a baseline. I'll let it run for a few seconds, maybe 10, 15 seconds. We'll see what it does. Then I'll pause it. I'll ask a question, and we'll see if we get any results whatsoever. We'll just play around with this, goof on it for a couple of minutes. And I'm going to take this out on location. I plan on doing some investigations and stuff and meeting up with some paranormal investigators here in the area. So this will get used out in the field and some other locations, but we'll just play with it for fun for now. So here we go. Here's the baseline. And you can hear it. I'm going to put it on experimental mode and then crank it up as high as it goes. So you can see it. This is the kind of thing that's going on that's randomly generated. And I pushed the mute button right now. So now we're going to say, okay, if you can communicate with me through the spirit box to the audience of Mysterious Forces Live, what would you say to us? See, I don't like this mode as well. So I have it on medium speed, low experimental. And I'm going to stop talking over it. I'm going to ask it a question again, and I'll stop talking. I won't step on it. It might make for a boring 1 minute or so of the show, but I don't think it does any good for me to talk over it. Let's just all give it a listen together. Like I said, I won't torture you with this. We'll get back with Janet here in just a second. So, is there anyone on the other side that can use the spirit box to communicate with the Mysterious Forces Live audience?
Tech.
Okay, I paused it. I want to be interested in this thing. I think it's a little bit fascinating, and I would still want to try it out a lot, especially in the field, to see if you get different kinds of results. Like, you know, I'm really going to go back and watch this video footage and just see if anything happened, because it's hard in the moment to hear something. Like I said, I think I got kind of an interesting result earlier, but I'm not going to share that yet. I might put that out. Actually, it's on my Facebook page. If you want to check out Mysterious Forces Live on Facebook, I put a little blurb there, and I'll tell you what I think it said. But I don't want to give in to the psychological aspect of also trying to make something out of nothing. So I'm very much on the fence about this. I'm fascinated. I'm interested, but whether it really works or not, I think for me personally, the jury is out. But I would love to see some good proof. Let's give it a few more seconds. We'll get it another whirl, and then I'll call Janet.
What?
Spirit box. What should we ask Janet about? Janet Kira Lessin. What should I ask her, Spirit Box? Okay, that's just weird. I'm calling Lore. I'm calling Janet Kira Lessin right now. Look, I have a busy signal. Busy, 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 busy. I wonder. Oh, this is a Michael. This is a number in Hawaii, and my phone is not calling Hawaii for some reason. I didn't realize the area code that was submitted was for that, and I'll bet you that's why I am not getting through. I'm going to try it one more time, but I'm telling you that a busy signal live here. Isn't this what you watch this show for? Now, see, this gets touted as a comedy show, and we do have comedic elements. And so this is the comedy of this show right now, is you get to watch me just kind of fall flat on my face right here in front of all of you and try to sing and dance and keep this interesting and keep it relevant. So I don't know, since this is already kind of a blowout. I have someone off camera. What? Who is it? Here. Hold on, just I'm getting another call. It's Michael. It's Professor Moriarty. We're doing this live on the air. Hello. Okay. All right. Hello. Hello. Michael figured out a way to bridge the call. Hello.
I'm here. Hi, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, and because I can hear you in my headphones, that means my audience can hear you. So here we are. Are you really in Hawaii?
No, I live in Hawaii, but I'm physically in Albuquerque right now because I put it on the conference this coming week called Stargate and Cosmos.
Oh, wow.
I came up early to work out a lot of the details.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess my phone plan didn't like the idea of me calling Hawaii. So I apologize.
Oh.
So yeah, when I called your number, I got a busy signal. It was kind of wild. So anyway,
okay.
so let me give you a proper introduction now that you're here, because I was just blabbering to my audience. This is Janet.
I know what that's like.
This is Janet Kira Lessin. They have a website, her and her husband, and it's aquarianradio.com. And I would be here forever if I went down the list of all the things that Janet does and what she has taught and the subjects that she's familiar with. So we're just going to jump into a conversation with her, and we'll see where this goes. Janet, can you tell me about the event that you're going to be appearing at later this week?
Well, I'm actually the producer. I'm crazy. I'm producing a conference with about 60 speakers live and another 10 to 15 Skyping in. And it's all about ufology and consciousness and abductee, contactees, experiencers, secret space program, paranormal, and spirituality, consciousness. It just keeps expanding, and I think we've maxed out now. There's no more room at the end, but this started as a dream I had, and I woke up on the 1st of January, and I'm a contact the experiencer, so it's like my ETs were saying, Janet, you got to get off your duff here and put this conference on. This is the time. So I had actually talked about this the previous year, and I kept procrastinating, and so this seemed like a dictate, so I got off, and I said, well, if you want me to do this, you better support me. And so I feel very supported. I got all these yeses. I put it out there. I have my own radio station, Aquarian Radio on Revolution Radio. No, I don't have Aquarian Radio. I have Sacred Matrix on Revolution Radio, and I also have Stargate and Cosmos on Revolution Radio on Sundays and Tuesdays. So I've been building an audience over the years, and so I met all these people, and they're all my friends now, and they go to a lot of conferences. So I got all these people saying, yes, we'd be delighted. So we're so excited that this is happening on such a huge scale. And the response has been excellent, and we've been getting using contact. We got over the San Diego Mountains, which is near Albuquerque, last week. A bunch of UFOs gathered and were dancing around, and there were little lights coming out. So, I mean, it could be the underground installation there, but, it could be ETs. Who knows? So,
wow.
That's happening October 25th through 28th out of Ramada, Albuquerque, Midtown. And we're going to start 9 a.m. And go to midnight. And we're going to have entertainment at the end of the day. people can come up and do an open mic and come out of the closet and say, yes, I've had, I've seen lights in the skies, I've had some weird things happen, I've been abducted by aliens, I'm a contractee, and I'm an ambassador to another planet. Whatever your story is, we're going to listen to your story. And then there's also, they're called experiencer groups, where it's more confidential, and we have therapists, hypnotherapists there, and we're going to do night vision, sky watch, and see 5 and see if we can call them in and have real, authentic disclosure.
That would be awesome. Do you have a select group of hypnotherapists that you work with locally? I don't know where you do your work from. Are you in Albuquerque just to do the event and then you go home to Hawaii? Or do you live in and work in Hawaii, like from home, like and work there as well?
Well, I travel a lot, so I do regression with people. I go to different venues and at hotels. I was a speaker at contractee. My husband's in bed already, but my husband and I are the Anunnaki people. We have a series of books on the ancient aliens, Anunnaki in particular. And so back to the hypnotherapist. So we have a lot that we network with, and there'll be several there that will have time on their calendars. If you want to have a regression session, we're probably going to schedule it a couple. We're staying Monday. I'm going to be going crazy during the conference, but the conference ends on Sunday, so we're going to stay an extra day if anybody wants to work with us. But we do them virtually. We have people on Skype, and we use Zoom sometimes, and we will do sessions that way too. But we love doing the in-person sessions because it seems like we can, get a lot out of it both ways, as the hypnotherapist and as the person agreeing to go under and retrieve their stories and what's going on for them.
Wow, that's fascinating. When it comes to hypnotherapy, have you used one yourself for your experiences, or do you have clear memories all on your own?
Well, I have a lot of conscious recall, but sometimes it's really valuable to look at it when you're regressing. So my husband is my primary hypnotherapist, although I've done sessions with other people. But when he met me and I met him, we had to go gold mine because I got free therapy, and so we were going into all the little stories. What we have is like a screen memory, something we just remember the surface of what happened, and so I would say, there were these lights in the sky. I'll just give an example, and I don't remember. I just don't remember. So we'll go into those things. We're very careful not to be this. We just track them so they can, and allow them time, allow the story to unfold. And pretty much everybody has something. And if they don't go to something in this life, they traditionally will go to a past life or something that's relevant to their here and now. And so we just carry with them. And if you go through the open portal of where the subconscious mind is taking them, and you do a series with them, they get even more and more relaxed into it. So we recommend that people who want to really go and explore this, they might do the series with a variety of hypnotherapists, because each time you do it, you get a little bit more of your story and what's going on and what's happened. And that seems to open you up to more contact. Once you start getting comfortable with contact, then you'll have more contact. It's a very interesting phenomenon. It's now getting documented because it's becoming common. We used to just have a smattering here and there of people that have had these experiences and regressions, but now we're getting quite a broad sample of what's happening around the planet. We have hypnotherapists in Australia and all over the world now working on this and gathering the stories.
Wow. And are those stories, is that the topic of some of your books?
I have a book on called Dance of the Soul, and I have one which is an anthology of a bunch of different people's stories called Experiencers. And I'm working on a couple more. I had to stop everything and work on this conference the last 6 months. But when I get home, I'm going to be working on a couple books. My personal story, I kind of, when I was writing it, I was shy, so I didn't share a lot. Coming out of the closet, it's just like coming out of your gay or bi or trans. Coming out of the closet is coming out of the closet, and it's trying to, test the waters, and then you write things. And so I plan on doing a bigger tell-all of what I've experienced. And now I'm correlating it with all these other stories. It's just amazing when you start getting all the pieces of the puzzle, and you connect them up and connect the dots. And there's a lot going on this Earth and in the solar system, and it's absolutely evolving. It's on the line of Star Trek and Star Wars. There are fights in space, but there's a lot of travel. Our technology is way in advance of what our governments of the planet are allowing us to know. And we have cures for every disease. We can put heads back on, revive the dead, live extremely long lives. We can have somebody live 20 years and regress them back. And it's just absolutely amazing. And the people that are coming out from different perspectives. And out, as you know, when you're the interviewer, you're like the center of the wheel. And my husband and I have been doing this interviewing other people since 2011. So we're getting this huge picture of what's actually going on in the cosmos.
For those,
amazing.
I know exactly what you're talking about, and that whole process. I came out of the closet once, and a lot of the same things happened, but it didn't have a damn thing to do with UFOs. Can you tell me a little bit about your personal experience for those viewers that don't know what you experienced exactly? Can you fill us in on the details of that a little bit?
Okay. I'm a lifelong experiencer. That means back to the crib. So when I came in with some conscious memories. And there was a point, my mother did not handle it very well. She was a very devout Christian, and she thought she had given birth to the demon seed. And so
my mom thought the same thing when I was 20. Go ahead.
Yeah, so she was acting out, and she was violent towards me, and she tried to kill me. But I have these guides that are extraterrestrial, and they did intervention so that I could stay embodied because, I've had a lifelong contact with many, many different species. I've seen them all: the grays, the tall whites, the Anunnaki, the reptilians, mantis. I've been to council meetings. So apparently, what I've uncovered by going through my story and other stories is that there's just a category called ambassadors. So people, some beings, some souls choose to come and incarnate on the earth. I have one speaker. She's a walk-in. So the original soul that was occupying her current body stepped out, and she walked in, and she took over. She's an ambassador. Many ambassadors. So there's different categories, but I'm an ambassador. But other ones are like the secret space program people. They're basically slaves. They were taken out of their beds. They were taken when they were kids. They found themselves on Mars or, moon base, and then typically starts moon base, Mars base. Some of them start out children in the sex slave or the drug trade, and they're being used as psychics. I mean, it's an amazing story. So there's very, very extreme negative stories that we're covering. But my story has been positive, and I feel so guilty when I'm interviewing or regressing to people that have had horrendous experiences. But what happens with everybody once they go into their stories and over time, they begin to understand that maybe they overreacted, the intentions. It's kind of like it's a cat or dog going to the vet, right?
Right.
And the cat probably thinks, Mommy, Daddy, you're so mean. Why are you taking me to this person, sticking me with pins and looking down my throat and putting things up my butt? You know, so it's like that.
Some people pay good money for that. And then they wake up the next day covered in goo. It's another story. You have to ask Doc Skinner about that. He woke up covered in goo once.
Stories.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about what you know about what their plans are for us or what the message is? Because this is a lot of activity to have ambassadors and beyond that, maybe tied in with this sense of purpose or whatever message they may have for us. I really would like to have some kind of information that can explain the full spectrum of experiences, because some people have horrible nightmarish experiences with these beings, and what they go through is traumatic, and they suffer PTSD from it. And then there are people such as yourself that have more positive experiences, and that there seems to be a message of enlightenment or progress for humanity associated with these contacts. And I have a hard time sorting out the spectrum of these horrible, terrible experiences that some people report, and then the very positive experiences that people such as yourself are reporting. How can we reconcile that?
Well, of course, we're still investigating and gathering information, so I don't have the answer, but I am going in the direction of what is possibly going on. First of all, on the highest level of our existence, we created this whole thing in the first place. We created the continuum upon which to play out experience. They call it the by-play Mila, in order to learn and grow and become conscious and awaken and move from an unconscious level 0 civilization like we currently have to a more conscious kind and loving civilization where everybody's respected and honored and can have lives with dignity, grace, and beauty and authentic peace. So that's kind of my overview of that. But the individual perception sometimes are perceptions, and then there's really what's going on. Like the ones with our secret space program in the military, they seem to be pretty horrendous. A lot of advanced species don't bother with doing horrendous things to human beings. They're really neutral. They just look at us as, subjects and stuff. With a higher perspective, we're looking at us as we were once like you, like humans, and we hope to help you evolve and grow and become conscious, and then we're going to invite you to Federation. So, just like Earth, you have all the experiences. You have some people who live in mansions and have beautiful lives, and they never have any problems. And then you have people that living in, squalor and suffering from horrendous diseases. So we have in space, we have the same thing going on, because this is a matrix. It's probably a synthetic, artificial experience, much like a virtual reality game that you play in the computer. And that the souls that have chosen to come down here are kind of like ambassadors or volunteers for the expense of the entire continuum. So that's one of the theories. There's lots of theories. And so, that's why I struggle with as well. Like, what are the answers? That's why I'm putting together this conference. We're going to have a very diverse group of people that even the ufologists, they aren't really sitting down and saying to each other what's going on. It's more like, let's come in and get up on the stage and present our stuff and maybe have a few conversations with a couple people who come over to our table. But this, I might also go to a symposium where we really do get down to the different topics and see if we can, correlate our information and come up with some resolutions. And then you have our world governments and the powers that be and the Illuminati, and they don't want us to progress because they're so, enwrapped in having have wealth. It's like greed, and greed is like hoarding. It's mental illness to hoard, right? It's a mental illness. So these people, there's more than enough money to go around. There's more than enough resources. There's more enough. There's a single person on this planet that's hungry or doesn't have decent education or a roof over their heads. But it's because of greed and hoarding. So that factor gets in there too. So we're not 100% sure what's going on there. We're looking at that from like the ancient alien perspective and going back to the historical and going back to the ancient stories and the pre-Sumerian, the pre-biblical, and a lot of this seems to be set up as a system to control, manipulate humanity, to keep us controlled because the Anunnaki only had about 1,000 of them on the earth, and we grew to the millions and now billions. So that seems to be part of mass manipulation so they can keep their little power game, and they're important and we're not. So I don't know if you follow all the conspiracy stuff, but there's, the 1% or the few like families that own everything, the majority of everything, and then the rest of us get what's left over.
Absolutely. No, that's true. And you're right. In terms of ufology, there's the spectrum of people and researchers, and that there are a lot of people that disagree with each other because there are widely varying schools of thought. And I was going to say something, but I'm not.
Well, a lot of people get invested in their reality, and they get tunnel vision, and they get invested in it. They get to get speaking engagements or write books or have notoriety or, they feel important, and they get so invested in their perspective that they close their mind to those, what's really going on.
Yeah, it turns into an ego trip. And, on some level. That's why we need to get rid of the slackers like Richard Dolan and have more Corey Goods, because, they just, bring so much truth. What I'm wondering, do you think that part of our fear or maybe our denial about alien visitation is that it forces us to look at ourselves in kind of a macro sense, in a mirror that makes us look at ourselves and how we treat each other and how we treat animals in the animal kingdom? And that we fear that if a superior race came along, that suddenly we would be treated in the same way that we have treated animals. And do you think we have to face our own guilt, our collective guilt about how we've treated animals? And that's why we compartmentalize this and shove this away, because we don't really want to come to terms with our own behavior?
That's certainly part of it. I think that they've already been here forever, and they're already doing things. I think they're treating us how they treat us, right? And so, I mean, they could have destroyed us 100 times over. They're allowing this to happen. Now, they see us as a reason. Part of them, not all, but there's a faction of the extraterrestrials that see us as a commodity they trade on the galactic and stock exchange, right? Because we're sex slaves, we're work slaves, we're military slaves, and some of us are taken as food. And that's what makes us, after a while, like, why do they want us to go forth and be fruitful and multiply, and they're not worried about a population explosion? Well, what we track down is because they're harvesting us and sending us off planet. So,
well, I just want to put this out there. Given a choice, I'd much rather be a sex slave than food. I just want to put this out there for the establishment. Sex slave,
then they'll turn you into food when you're no longer good as a sex slave. I don't know how they work. I know.
Yikes. Gives a whole new definition to eat me, and I just don't even want to go there. That's horrible.
Right. I don't want to go there. Okay, so that's your question. I know I tend to segue, but and I'm jet lagged and tired, but this is such an important subject. So I'm not afraid, but I have to. It's like, bring it on. I am so tired. I think this reality, this life, with how people are treated, is far worse than if we finally get conscious They're
Right.
not allowed to help unless we ask them.
Like the prime
People
directive.
that are waking up and they start asking for contact, they actually have to learn how to not have a knee-jerk reaction, you know, and punch them or run away, right? So that takes work on yourself.
Well,
that's why I think
it would.
Hypnotherapy regression or just doing meditation or doing some kind of spiritual work helps, prepares you for contact.
I think
Does
so.
that make sense?
No, it makes total sense. You know, I do my best to be positive, and overall I am a positive person. And if you watch the news too much, and I'm kind of a news junkie, I like, you know, information. I like to know what's going on, but you know, that can breed cynicism and pessimism sometimes. And you know, if you just pop on the headlines of the news and scroll down very quickly, it can be disheartening, and it makes me personally wonder if we can ever put aside our childish tribal impulses long enough to actually cooperate with each other as one race, as one species, not dealing with ethnicity or religion or culture or any of the other factors that define us as people. You know, when we can put aside those petty differences, we could do anything. We could be doing a lot of really cool stuff right now as a planet, as a people, if we were united. But, you know,
most definitely. So that's part of the original Anunnaki game or the Illuminati game, is to divide and conquer, to pit us against each other, man against woman, races against races, religions against religion. So to disengage from the programming is stop watching the program. That is true. Now, I too am curious. I want to know what the heck's going on this planet. So I get some news in my iPhone, and it's geared, geared toward me, because AI is gearing you towards what you want to see. So I take some of the weird stuff, but you know, I don't think I get the same news that somebody else does that may have been watching Fox News. I think everybody gets the news directed at you, which follows what you are already programmed with. So we're programmed from the moment we're born. So how do we get beyond programming? So you noticed that sometimes, what did you say? You said, I can't remember what you said, but you switch the program. So you notice yourself getting all sad and maybe you're getting, if you watch violence, it makes you violent. Everything you take in, like food, is toxic. So if you take in a song that's talking about kill, 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 or if you take in things in your mind from movies or television about kill, 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 I mean, that just goes in really deep. So a lot of people shut off the television and the influx of news, and they get out and put your feet on the ground. Take your shoes off, put your feet on the ground, or go into nature. Then you get clarity, and you go, "Oh my God, I was programmed."
Exactly.
It off my shoulders and start getting clarity.
Get rid of the first-person shooter games and the Nickelback albums, and the world would become better really quickly. Well, Janet, we're getting about the end of our half-hour segment with you. This show has gone way over its 30-minute typical time, but I wanted to make sure that you got your 30 minutes because we appreciate you taking the time to be with us, and you have a fantastic, amazing story, and I really enjoy talking to you. Before we go, can we quickly, like within 1 minute, what are the top 5 things that you would tell people to do to bring a little more joy and happiness into their day-to-day lives and help them tune out all of this negativity? What are 5 things they could do?
Okay, like I said, shut off the TV and all the information is negative. Start working in your life. You know, pick up your children, your pets. Tell them you love them. Tell them they're important. Work on your personal relationships, whatever they are. Make amends with your family and friends as best you can. And just remember to smile and love. Walk down the street smiling sometimes, and you'll see a difference in your world. Stop and breathe, take a deep breath, and pause before you speak if it's not kind or loving.
Those are wise words, Janet. I appreciate you I appreciate you being here so much. You're the one that's jet lagged, but you never know it by listening to me tonight. Listen, everybody, it's aquarianradio.com. You're also going to find links down in the bottom. Don't go. I'm going to hang up with Janet, but I'm going to talk for a minute. So, Janet, no, Janet. Yeah, go ahead. Pump it one more time because I was kind of stepping on you there.
Okay, sorry. I just want to keep it in stargatecosmos.org. And we begin on Thursday to change the planet. And you can do virtually. You can listen to the live streaming or come in person. But we're going to just blow off the roof on this thing, the lid, and just make this happen. Okay. Thank you.
Oh, thanks, Janet. Goodbye. She left, but that was stargatetothecosmos.org. Stargatetothecosmos.org. It's going to be happening in Albuquerque the 25th through the 28th of this month. Check it out. Go to the website. Check out aquariumradio.com. Wow. What an interview. There were so many things touched on. There were so many things I could have jumped on, and I didn't. And hopefully we'll have Janet on again because I want to hear a lot more about people having their heads cut off and reattached. If we can't talk for a half hour about that, we can't talk about anything because I'm telling you, there was a lot of information going on there. So I want to play my happy music. I want to thank Lisa P. I want to thank Jiggy from Paranormal Hood. Check out Paranormal Hood if you don't do it. Ashley, Jessica, Doc Skinner, my friends from up in the White Mountains. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Brad. I want some of your artwork. I'm going to be making t-shirts. Keep an eye out. I'm going to have merch really, really soon, and my website is going to be coming up. If you haven't already, smash that like button, smash that subscription button, and please hit the alerts so that you know when we put something new up. And we're going to have new interviews, pre-recorded interviews. We're getting to the end of our pre-recorded Contact in the Desert stuff, and we're moving on to all fresh material very soon. Production values are going up, and I'm trying to point to this crystal ball. It's very magical. It's very colorful. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great time. Tune in tomorrow night. Mysterious Forces Live. Thank you so much. Have a great evening. Be safe, everyone. And I'm trying to get my mouse down on the button. And let's see if we can get to go now. And